Hey, what's going on, guys? As 2019 wraps up, I wanted to take a moment, look back, and talk about exactly how I was able to make $3,100 on the stock market investing here in 2019. So let's just jump right to the video. First off, if you guys are new here to the channel, you don't really know what it's about. I talk about all things investing with my tips, tricks, and insight into the stock market. So if that's something that interests you and you're looking to increase the size of your portfolio, then make sure you quickly jump down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the bell notification so you can be alerted when new content comes out. I post a ton of different content centered around the stock market and mainly investing using the Robinhood platform. So if that's something that interests you, then make sure that you stay tuned. Also, on this channel here, we do what is called the Robinhood Challenge. So I take $100 every single week and I invest that into the stock market. Now, each week I will post an update video that comes out on Mondays, and I'll talk about exactly why I made that move, why it might be an option to consider some of these stocks, but I don't necessarily say that you should go out and buy those stocks. Whenever I talk about stocks, you want to do your own research and get your own backing behind it to make sure that it's an investment that you want to make yourself. So let's jump into the Robinhood app so you can see the portfolio and know exactly what I've been up to this year. Now, one thing that's important to note, I did say that this is from this past year, but realistically, this has been about 5 months worth of investing through the Robinhood Challenge. That's just what I'm sharing with you guys. I've been investing for a lot longer, but not so open about my investments as I am on the channel now. So if I jump into it, you can see this past day we went up $6.34, so not too bad. Over the past week, we are down less than $1, not too bad for the week. The past month, we're up over 1% at $33.03. And then over the past 3 months, we are looking at a 4.56% return, making $135.64. Now, all time in this challenge, we're up nearly $200, a little bit above $200 actually, so that's pretty interesting to look at. The emphasis on our portfolio here is dividend investing. So I'm gonna go over to the statements and history section here where you can see all of the pending dividends that are coming in. I'll make sure to filter it by dividends just so you get that insight that you probably wanna see. And you can see, basically, I have been rolling in these dividends over the past few months, and what I do with these dividend payments that I am receiving is actually reinvest them right back into the Robinhood app in a lot of these same stocks, just so that way I'm re-upping my position in them. Something that is interesting in the future is that Robinhood will be implementing a dividend reinvestment program, so I look to take advantage of that as well. It'll be pretty interesting to see how big I can get this dividend snowball growing, but for me, myself, I really do love dividend investing. But let me jump over to the home screen of the Robinhood app, and then I'm gonna go through actually one by one my stocks, and I'll actually cover them by my total return on them. So you know my biggest winners, my biggest losers, and what stocks that I like to just be invested in and seeing the returns of them. So you can see I have 8 shares of Realty Income. Now this is my #1 holding in Robinhood. They are a REIT. I'm sure you've seen it on a lot of other YouTubers if you are frequent to the financial realm of investing. Realty Income is a really solid REIT, and they are making up a portion of my portfolio of just around 20%. I have 8 shares of them at an average cost of $73. So I'm a little bit down on this stock, and that was pretty interesting because I've been upwards of $40, $50 on them. So it's a pretty solid return when I was looking at that. But like I said, this portfolio is for the long term, so those short-term fluctuations aren't gonna matter as much. Coca-Cola, everyone knows about Coca-Cola. I've made about $7.28 on them. They're another large holding in my portfolio, about 10%. Not too bad here. Coca-Cola is a very solid company. They have a huge market share. Also, Johnson & Johnson's another one. I was down on them for a while. You can see them up around $22 right now, so that's really, really good for what I've been looking at for this stock. I have 2 shares at an average cost of $134.41. Now, this was one that I was kind of talking about for a while. You might want to get in back when they were taking some lawsuit actions against them because, you know, Johnson & Johnson is just so diversified that they're always going to be prevalent in the market and have a huge kind of bounce back whenever they see a lot of struggles in the market. So when they went on a dip, I was sure to pick up a few shares there. Now, next is A.O. Smith. This is a financials company. This is one that I really like being invested in. I've seen really solid returns over them, but for now I am down. You can see over the past 3 months, they're kind of on a dip here. So you might see me picking up a little bit of this stock in the future, but looking at what their average is for me is $48. I have 5 shares of them, fluctuating, but still nonetheless a very solid dividend paying company. Now I also have been invested in Citigroup. This is one of my biggest winners right now at 18.92% return, so nearly 19%, and they've generated $37.97 in returns for me. One thing to note, the Robinhood app does not actually calculate in any dividends that are being paid to you. So yes, the return on this so far based on the market price is $37.97, but in actuality, it's more than that because I've been receiving dividend payments from them since I've been invested in them for a while now. Jumping down into HPQ, this was one, there was a lot of trade talks going on with them, a lot of, basically they were gonna be bought out by a company called Xerox. That kind of fell through, but that really skyrocketed the price for me, and I'm able to return right now $19.44, or a 10% return. This is a very solid company that I think was taking a beating for a while, so I definitely got in on them at one of their lower points, and they have made a very solid bounce back, and I think that trend is going to continue. Now the next company that I am invested in, and this is one that I absolutely love, I would love to pick up more shares. They're a very solid dividend paying company, and that's AT&T. They're a services provider, and basically they just have a huge market share in that. You can see their market cap is $284.6 billion, so that's really solid. Pretty high dividend yield. According to Robinhood, it's 5.34. That's a little bit off. Whenever you look at the dividend yields in Robinhood, or any information, for example, you might want to just look at something like Yahoo Finance or another credible website that has more statistics for you to compare to. Robinhood is not always accurate with that. Now, jumping down, Microsoft, this is the single greatest return, I think, price-wise for a single share that I have. So 16.76% and a $22.73 return. That's very solid. Obviously, that's one of the higher ones because they are such an expensive stock, but they continue to hit all-time highs. One of you reached out to me on Twitter by the name of Samuel Suto, and if you guys didn't already know, I'm very active on my Twitter account. You might want to give it a follow. That's at DLitzTV. But basically, he reached out to me and said, hey, listen, I love the content you're producing, which thank you for the compliment, really means a lot. But he just said he knows that the price of stocks are very high, and you might not want to buy into them when they're high, but with solid stocks like Microsoft, you know, what is your mindset going into it? And basically, my response to him was something along the lines of, yes, these stocks are going to be very highly valued because they are very solid companies. And what I like to do is invest for the long term. So for my strategy, because I'm dollar cost averaging into a lot of these different companies, ones like Microsoft, I know Microsoft is a very solid pick. And yes, they might be at all-time highs now, but that doesn't necessarily deter me from investing with them because I think there's a lot of innovative things that they can introduce. And basically, they're going to be so relevant and be able to keep up the pace with what they're doing. So for stock like Microsoft, yes, it might be worrisome to be investing at all-time highs, but you have to remember, for some companies, they're gonna continue to go up even if they're at all-time highs, especially in the technology realm is one that I see that happens a lot too. So Microsoft is one that I definitely wanna increase my holdings into just a little bit, but they are a bit pricey right now for this challenge because I only invest $100 each week. Next company I wanted to cover was Pfizer. Pfizer is one that basically, I never really do well in pharmaceuticals. You guys have heard me say that, but this is one that I haven't done too bad in. 7% return, $12.85 total. But Pfizer, they have just been going up since I invested in them. Over the past 3 months, you can see we're looking at nearly a 9% return on them. So not too shabby, Pfizer. Walmart's one that I picked up. Basically, my mindset behind Walmart is, first off, I have a 39-cent return so far, so nothing too great. I only invested in them a few weeks back. But basically, my thought process behind Walmart is, if we hit a recession, even if we don't hit a recession, Walmart is kind of in the consumer's mind as a cheap place to buy quality goods. And it's just very solid. And basically their financials have been pretty set for a while. And one company that I just definitely wanted to have a piece of the pie in. Now, another one is Monmouth Real Estate Investment. This is another REIT, so I have a few different REITs in my portfolio, but this is one that I talked about recently in one of my Robinhood Challenge videos. So if you want to know the exact reason why I'm investing in a lot of these companies, you can go back to those videos and watch those. But for Monmouth, they have really, really solid companies that are renting from them. I'm talking about FedEx, I'm talking about Home Depot, some really well-established companies that just need the space to rent from. All of their construction, all of their buildings were built younger than 10 years old, so that's very solid. It's gonna help when you are looking at things like maintenance on the properties and anything like that basically costing them more. They're gonna be pretty set for a while on a lot of that stuff, as long as those properties were built well. Charles Schwab is one that I've been invested in for a while now. I invested back when they were, even before they acquired TD Ameritrade. There was a lot of talk going on in the investment realm, which I'm sure a lot of you already know, between Robinhood, because they basically forced every other brokerage to offer free trades. Schwab jumped in on that, TD Ameritrade, all these other ones, and basically I wanted to get the ones that were least impacted by that, and that was Charles Schwab. So you can see that once I bought in, I've actually got a 36% return on my investment from them. So that's a really, really solid. Obviously, I wish I picked up more shares back then, but you know, hindsight is 2020 when investing. Now, scrolling down, ADM is one, Archer Daniel Midland Company, very, very solid, almost a 15% return on them. They are a solid dividend paying company for me. I believe they are part of the either Dividend Aristocrats or Dividend King family. Those are two that I really, really like investing in. If you didn't know, Dividend Aristocrats basically have been increasing their dividend payments consecutively for 25 years plus. If you're a Dividend King, you've been increasing your dividend payments for 50 years plus. So very solid stuff there. NOBL, on the topic of Dividend Aristocrats, this is an ETF that tracks the Dividend Aristocrats. So, you know, as the Dividend Aristocrat market goes up, the price of this stock will go down. As they go down, this will go down as well. If you didn't know what an ETF is, basically it's a basket of stocks that basically when you invest in it, you have a whole different amount of reach in the money that you're putting into the stock market because you're investing in more than just one company. The next company, Altria, this is one of my more controversial investments just because, you know, obviously they're a tobacco company, smoking cigarettes, you know, Juul, stuff like that. The reason I'm trying to keep my morals out of it, but they have a very solid financial structure. They actually were able to cut a lot of their expenses, and their financial team is just really, really solid. So I have 11% return on them right now, just one share. I'd like to increase my holdings here, but I actually have gotten some people commenting, not really appreciating that I have invested in a company like this, but I try to strictly look at it from a financial standpoint. And lastly, in this portfolio, I have an American Express. I picked them up last week after looking at some of the deals that they were offering and looking around at the credit card companies. I have a 79-cent return on them. Not too bad. And that is just the overview of my entire portfolio there and how I came to make $3,100 on the stock market. Now, a lot of this was through just investing money over time. Obviously, I didn't just start with $0 and end up with $3,100. You have to actually put money into the market to make money. And hopefully the trend on this portfolio continues. I'm really satisfied with the results so far. Heading into 2020, I would like to just be able to eventually increase the amounts of investments I'm making to this portfolio so it can grow a little bit quicker. But if you guys stuck around this long in the video, make sure you leave it a like. I do appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I hope you guys have a great holiday season, and heading into 2020, you have a great year. So thanks for checking out this video, guys. Have a great day.